Hey, welcome to Think Thursday from the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. Think Thursday is all about your beautiful, brilliant human brain. We're talking neuroscience. We're talking behavior change. We are talking about your mindset. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Well, hello and welcome to Think Thursday from the Alcohol Minimalist. I'm your host, Molly Watts, and as always, I am here not only to help you build that peaceful relationship with alcohol, but really to live your best and most intentional life. And today we're talking about something revolving, around the brain, because that's what Think Thursdays are all about. And diving into something that applies to everyone no matter where you are in terms of your journey with alcohol or your goals around personal development, this is something that is incredibly important, and it's silence. That's right, silence. I got to be honest, this topic is very interesting to me and very challenging to me. I am an audio girl. I like listening to everything, and I listen to a lot. And of course, I'm not the only one. Literally, we are constantly bombarded by noise, whether it's the external buzz of our environment or a lot of internal chatter because of our thoughts. Silence has become rare. But what if silence wasn't just an absence of sound, but it was actually something that was powerful and restorative and something that your brain actually needs to thrive? Because today I'm actually going to break that all down. I'm going to break down the science behind silence, why it is so important, and how we can incorporate it into our daily lives to help us boost clarity, creativity, and emotional well being. Trust me, this is a small but mighty change that you're really can make a big impact. So I hope that as you start listening, and yes, I'm very well aware that I'm doing a podcast that you'll have to listen to all about silence. The irony is not lost on me, but alas, that is what we're talking about. And I want to dive in. When we think of silence, we often imagine being in a quiet room or stepping outside into nature. And while, yes, silence can be about minimizing external noise, the true magic of silence lies in what it does for your brain. Research shows that when you give your brain a break from external stimulation, incredible things start happening behind the scenes. Let's look at a few studies. Researchers at Duke University discovered that periods of complete silence actually stimulate the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain that is responsible for memory and learning. And let's think about that for a second. By simply being quiet, you're literally helping your brain repair itself and grow stronger. And considering how many of us are constantly multitasking or being overstimulated, this natural brain boost is something that we can all benefit from. Another fascinating discovery involves what is called the default mode network, the DMN for short. This network kicks into gear when we're at rest, not focused on external tasks. It's a part of the brain that is responsible for introspection, for self-reflection, for creative problem solving. If you've ever had a great idea hit while you're like taking a shower or during a quiet walk, that is your DMN at work. Silence isn't just giving you a break, it's activating the very part of your brain that leads to those aha moments that we all love. Lastly, silence has been shown to reduce cortisol levels, which helps lower stress. A study published in Heart Journal found that just 2 minutes of complete silence was more effective in reducing tension than listening to calming music. Isn't that amazing? Silence is actually more relaxing than what we often think of as relaxing sounds. So, why does our brain need silence? The modern world isn't exactly designed to give us moments of peace. Between phones constantly buzzing, email notifications, the background noise of daily life, the television, right? We have trained ourselves to be always on. And the problem is that our brains aren't built for this kind of stimulation. And just like a muscle, the brain needs rest and recovery to perform at its best. When we don't give ourselves that rest, we experience what's called cognitive fatigue. And it's a mental state that where it becomes harder to focus, to make decisions, or to regulate our emotions. And you've heard me talk about uh, cognitive fatigue before, decision fatigue specifically, when it comes to the that moment when we have made a plan about not drinking or what the amount of drinks that we're going to include, and when we start to question those, being able to stick to that commitment, sometimes that can be attributed to decision fatigue. How often have you felt mentally drained after a long day of meetings, of scrolling social media? And maybe it is possible that silence is the antidote to this fatigue. But here's the kicker, and I know it's true. Many of us avoid silence. Why? Because when things get quiet, we're often left alone with our thoughts, and that can be uncomfortable. We might start reflecting on our worries, on our to do lists, or past mistakes. Here's the thing, leaning into that discomfort is where growth happens. Silence gives us the space to process emotions, to solve problems, and to even heal. I say it all the time, discomfort is a sign that you are starting to grow, that you are starting to change. You cannot change without discomfort. So now that you understand why silence is really important, and hopefully you believe me, and hopefully you hear me, let's talk about how to make it a consistent part of your life. And don't worry, I just like everything else, I am not suggesting that you go on a week-long silence retreat. Of course, unless that sounds really amazing to you. I actually have a coaching client who was going on a silence retreat for a weekend, and that's kind of what started me down this path of this topic. For most of us, me included, a silence retreat for a weekend feels kind of scary and kind of like really hard, like I wouldn't be able to do that. So instead, we want to take small, intentional moments of silence and realize that those small moments can add up and they can have a big and cumulative effect. So, here are some practical ideas. Number one, start your day with silence. Instead of reaching for your phone the moment that you wake up, dedicate 5, 10, 15 minutes to sitting in complete quiet. This could be during a morning meditation. Perhaps go outside. If you've listened to the big podcast, you hear me talk. So you've maybe heard me talk before about morning light. There's great benefit in getting morning light. So incorporating quiet and into your morning routine, sipping your coffee, looking out the window, let your mind wake up without external noise, without external stimulation. And so that means, even the video screen of your phone or anything else. Why this works is that when you start your day with silence, you set the tone for calm and focus. Instead of rushing into the chaos of notifications, news, emails, take those moments in the beginning of your day to start your day with silence. Number two, take 5-minute silent breaks throughout the day. Whenever you feel overwhelmed or stuck on a task, step away and spend 5 minutes in silence. No phones, no music. Just breathe and be present. And if it's possible to do it outdoors, then try that. Nature has its own calming effect, and combining it with silence can double the benefits. Number three, this is a hard one for me. I this tip, I'm trying to like embrace it myself. Try a silent commute or a silent walk. If you're like me and you listen to podcasts or music or the radio during your commute, your walk, consider going tech free a few times a week and use this as a time to reflect or simply observe your surroundings. Now, I got to tell you, I I like to listen. Like I said, it's hard for me to imagine, but I am committed to this just like you are trying to do this. I am going for one tech-free commute each week. That's where I'm starting. Going to meet myself where I'm at because I don't do any of it without a podcast on, or an audiobook. And so I'm going to try a silent commute one day a week. Number four, incorporate a silent meal. Once a day, eat a meal in complete silence. Focus on the taste, the texture, the aroma of your food. This not only helps you like slow down, but it also improves digestion and mindfulness around food. So I love this idea. I don't know when I'm going to try to incorporate a silent meal, but I'm going to. And number five, this idea is really important for all of us. Create a tech-free time block. Choose a 30-minute block each evening where you turn off all devices and you embrace quiet time. You can use this as a wind down ritual before bed or simply as a way to disconnect from the digital world. I'll tell you, I'm a big, people have heard me talk about it before, but I'm a big bath taker. I take a bath pretty much every day, pretty much every evening. And I used to always just have books and I would read, physical books. Then I started taking my phone in and using my phone to read or do things in the bathtub. And so this is again something for me where I need to go back to a tech-free block in the bathtub and make that something that's a part of my life. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Molly, I really don't have time for silence. I feel restless when things get quiet. And as you've heard me talk about, I truly get it. Many of us are so used to noise that silence feels weird and uncomfortable at first. But just like anything else, the good news is that you can train your brain to appreciate and desire silence, just like you can train it to form new habits around alcohol. We're going to start small and we're going to look for opportunities for continuous improvement, and we're going to be consistent. And we are going to remind ourselves that when we notice that resistance, that it is just a part of the process. We're not going to make it a problem. We're not going to try to solve for that resistance. We're going to just do it and realize that with practice, this idea of silence will get easier and our brains will actually learn to desire it. Let's again recap some of the long-term benefits of incorporating silence into your life. You, number one, will get improved problem solving and creativity thanks to activating your default mode network, the DMN. Number two, you lower stress and anxiety. You're going to reduce cortisol levels, and that helps regulate your mood and decrease stress. And number three, better memory and learning. Neurogenesis in the hippocampus, literally increasing brain cells, enhances cognitive function. In short, silence helps you think more clearly, feel more grounded, and be more present. These are all good things. So, here's my challenge for you this week. Just like myself, try incorporating just one moment of silence into your day this week. Start with a silent break or a tech-free morning or a tech-free commute. And you know what? I would love to hear, yes, hear, how it goes. So email me, molly@mollywatts.com. Come over, share your experience in the Alcohol Minimalist Facebook group, and let's all try to get some more quiet, some more silence into our lives so that our brains are better for it. Until next time, take a moment of quiet for yourself because you deserve it. And I will see you all on Monday. Choose peace, my friends.